Why do so many people set the wrong goals? The thing is, even from an early age, we are conditioned to think about goals. How many primary age children are asked what do they want to be when they're older and then vilified when they say a footballer or a model, because really they have no idea and no concept of the future. They're living day to day. They're not thinking about what am I going to do when I'm 30. They're enjoying the moment. And that is really where it starts, is conditioning this idea that we're going to know where we're going. And equally, it's when we start looking at, well, what does society tell us? What does our context tell us? What do the systems tell us our goals should be? So we start to perceive what is possible by what we see around us. So this continues into adulthood. So now we have the joy of social media, which is great in so many ways, but also it's feeding us lots and lots of messages. Social media, advertising, media full stop, as well as what we see in society. So with all of this messaging, we start to think about, well, what goals should I have? And we start to follow other people's routes. So in the olden days, this might be that your mum or your dad or your granny said, how about you become an accountant? That's a great job. That will give you stability. That will mean that you've got safety. You're always going to have a job. And we will have thought, oh, okay, well, mum, dad, granny, auntie, cousin thinks that's a good thing to do. I'll do it because that's what I do. I'll follow the path or the goal that somebody else has given me. And it's not only that way. So we might have that from our family growing up, but then we're also looking at what else is influencing us. I've worked with thousands of coaches and they've come to me often saying, I want to make X amount of money. Where does that come from? And often it comes from what they've seen online. Well, let's look at this number, because apparently this is a magic number. Maybe it's 5K months, maybe it's 10K months. All of these things really don't mean anything unless they have context. But it's very easy to pick up. Our brain likes certainty. Our brain likes black and white thinking. Okay, so I can either do this or I can't. And so we take on goals from elsewhere. These are nebulous numbers that may be part of our goals, but we're taking on them because we think that we should. Okay, maybe we should have this. Maybe we should have that. So the first thing to notice about your goals is, what is the origin? Where has this come from? And if we're hearing a should, you should do this, you should do that, whose voice is it? Because actually, that awareness is going to help you to think about what is going to work for you. So when we're looking at our own personal goal setting, it's about recognizing, what do I want? And part of that is about saying, who do I want to be, as well as what do I want to do? In coaching terms, we often use this exercise called Be, Do, Have, which looks at everything you want to be, everything you want to do, and everything that you want to have. What's interesting about this exercise is often people struggle with one of those, but equally it gives clarity into what is important to me. And I say that is a great question to think about when you're looking at goals, because it's very easy for people to say, well, just do things that are aligned with your values. Just do the things that are important to you. But there's also, beneath that, your kind of fundamental survival-based goals. So actually, what do I need in order to live the life that I'm living now? And then what do I need in order to live the life that I want to live? And when you're thinking about this might be coming down often to money, but also thinking about what is behind me doing this thing. So maybe I perceive that I need to live in a certain size house. I perceive I need to drive a certain car. I perceive I need these things. Are those really linking into your happiness and your well-being? Is that what you really want, or is it what you've been conditioned to believe? So when you're looking at your goal setting, thinking about, actually, what here drives me? What are the reasons behind my decisions? What are the reasons behind me wanting this? So instead of going to all of the shoulds, you're starting to recognize what you want, what drives you, what motivates you, what makes you feel happy and content, what gives you meaning and purpose. And often, as I said, there is that financial reality. And there is, for most of us, we want to be able to provide for our families. We want to have certain things. But look at it in a bit more detail. Think about, well, what does that mean? I was talking to my team earlier and we were talking about this 10K months that we hear in the business world so much. And you could be making 10K months and you could be doing that on your own. Very little team, very little overheads. That would, that could be fantastic after tax. You might be getting 6, 7K in your bank account. Brilliant. Or you could be making 10K months and you could be having really high overhead. So actually, you'd be getting a lot less. And maybe that isn't what you want. Or maybe it is, because maybe what you're wanting to do is grow something longer term. And you're recognizing to do that, the investment needs to happen now. So it's about understanding the real driver, understanding the why beneath your goals. It's about switching off from all of those shoulds and those external influences and getting crystal clear on what you want and what drives you and what success looks like. And it's about allowing yourself to change. So many people I meet, wow, I was going to say mid-30s, but actually, honestly, from the mid-20s upwards, realize that their success template, what they thought success was, isn't actually what motivates them and drives them and makes them feel good. And they switch and they change and they evolve. And so your goals are not set in stone. They can change, as you evolve, as you understand yourself better, as the world evolves. So remember, your goals are about you, not about anybody else. So get rid of those shoulds, stop following the crowd, and recognize, what do I want and who do I need to be in order to get there?